hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So those who have not changed your names into your registration number, please rename yourself. Please also include your registration number with the name. So please tell the latecomers come at sharp at 2 o'clock. Then only we can cover, or they can cover all the sections. Okay, so we can start. So can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so this course is because now you are following a new curriculum or new syllabus. So all the names will be different from the senior, your senior batch. Okay, maybe the content of the course is almost same, but the method of teaching is going to be very different from the your seniors and your batch. Okay. This time it will be a student-centered learning. So rather than teacher teaching, you have to learn yourself. So that is the trend today. So maybe we will be facilitating, we will be giving handouts, and even in the lectures, you yourself will be learning. We will slowly transform into the student-centered learning mode. Okay, so maybe today I'll be since I did not share the handouts early, so today I'll be teaching. Maybe from next class onwards, you yourself have to come forward and read the handouts. Then maybe I can help. Okay, and so this is going to be a student-centered learning. And so when you are doing that, you will improve your language, improve your self-confidence level, and also you will be involved in learning rather than I know how these online classes are conducted and how the students are learning in the online classes, because I also have students in my home. So sometimes they are in the bed. Most of you may be in the bed now. So I don't want those kind of teaching and learning. So I want to involve everyone. So in the course today, I'll tell how we are going to conduct this course. Okay. So each and every one of you have to open your mouth, and maybe you have to on your camera and you have to talk. Okay. So today I'll give you excuse since it is the first class. So maybe you all are not prepared, but from the next class you have to be prepared. Maybe I will not tell who have to on the camera and talk, because I want everyone to be prepared for the class. Okay, so now we'll move. So this is soil properties and processes. So earlier there is a course like this. Almost the content is same, but the way we are going to learn and teach will be different. Okay, so it will cover 30 hours of lectures, another 30 hours of practical, and 90 hours of independent learning. So before the class, you have to learn and come. Then only you will be able to cope up in the class. Okay, and when you learn yourself, you can improve yourself. Okay, so the aim of the course is to introduce the students to the chemical, physical, and biological properties and processes of the soils. So in the soils, there are soils have some physical properties, chemical properties, and biological properties. So almost all the properties which are relevant to agriculture, you will be learning, and also some processes occurring in the soil and their interactions and how that kind of properties will influence the sustainable land management. Okay, so you all know for agriculture, to conduct agriculture, we need fertile land. So we have to sustainably manage the land, and for that we need to learn about the soils. So soil is the base for agriculture. So this is a foundation course for all the agriculture students. So that is the aim of the course. So learning outcome. So learning outcome means what you are expected at the end of the course. Okay, so at the end of this course, what you have to do or what you should be able to do. So that is learning outcome. So you should be able to compare different physical, chemical, and biological properties of soils. So we'll be teaching you different physical, chemical, and biological properties, and you should be able to compare those properties. Then discuss the influence of different factors on each soil property and processes. Okay, so you'll be studying what are the physical properties, for example. Then you will be also studying what factors will affect the physical properties, okay, of each and every property and process you'll be learning. Then recommend appropriate management methods to improve soil properties and processes. So at the end, you should be able to recommend for a farmer what management practices they have to adopt to improve the soil properties. Then also you should be able to analyze soil properties and processes. So that will be in the laboratory. So once you come here, you will be learning the practicals. So during practicals, you will be studying how to analyze and estimate different soil properties. Then you should be able to derive relations among soil properties. So in soil properties, there will be some equations involving, and there will be some in between different soil properties. You have to derive equations, especially in the soil physics or soil physical properties. You have to derive relations among soil properties. Then calculate different aspects related to soil properties. So maybe there will be some calculations also in the practical as well as in the theory. There will be some practicals. Then interpret analytical results of soils. So since you are going to analyze soil properties, there will be results at the end of your practical, and you should be able to interpret that. Okay, so for example, you are estimating maybe soil organic matter content. Okay, then for example, your experimental results is giving 1% organic matter in your soil. Then you should be able to interpret, okay, 1%, whether this is enough or this is not enough, and what factors has contributed to this 1% organic matter, how to improve the organic matter content. Those kind of interpretation you should be able to do at the end of the course. And appraise potentials of different soils. Appraise means evaluate. Okay, so if you are given soil samples, you should be able to evaluate and tell which soil, or if you are given two soil samples, you should be able to evaluate and tell which soil sample is better for cultivation. So these are expected from you at the end of the course. Okay, so having this in mind, you should be able to study, and maybe in the exams these kind of things will be appearing. So that is a learning outcome. Now we'll see the course content. So for theory and practical, there are contents. As far as theory is concerned, soil physical properties and processes. So under this, you will be learning about bulk density, particle density, porosity of the soil, then soil texture, soil structure, soil color, soil water content, water potential, soil moisture retention relationship, soil water movement, and the soil air and temperature. So those are the physical properties you will be learning. Then in chemical properties, classification and properties of soil colloids. So you will be learning what are soil colloids and how there are different types of colloids. Then you will be learning what are the how to classify those colloids, those kind of things you'll be learning. Then you'll be learning about ion exchange and its importance. So in soils, there is different processes occurring, such as ion exchange. So you'll be learning later about that. And also soil reaction or soil pH, how to measure the soil pH and what are the implications of soil pH, those kind of things you'll be learning in the soil chemistry or soil chemical properties. And also you'll be learning soil biological properties, such as diversity of soil organisms, what are the organisms found in the soil, then about soil organic matter and humus. And so maybe in organic matter, you'll be also studying in the practical how to estimate how much of organic matter is in the soil. Then carbon nitrogen ratio and its significance. So because carbon and nitrogen ratio in the soil is a very important parameter that will influence a lot of nutrient availability. So you have to, you'll be learning about that. Then factors and practices influencing soil organic matter. So what factors will affect the soil organic matter content? And also role of soil organisms in fertility. So how soil fertility can be influenced by soil organisms. So those are the content as far as theory is concerned. Then in practical, almost all these properties you will be estimating or you will be doing in the laboratory, how to estimate a soil's bulk density, particle density, texture, everything, soil pH. You will be doing all these practicals and you will experience how to analyze these in the laboratory. So that is about practical. And so what are the teaching and learning methods we'll be adapting? So interactive lectures. So interactive lectures means you have to open up, then only it will be an interactive lecture. Then think, pair, share learning. So actually this is mostly possible in the face-to-face lecture. So maybe in the class, if we ask any question, then in pair, you can discuss and you can tell the answer. So that is the think, pair, share learning. Then fishbowl learning. I'll show what is fishbowl learning. Then jigsaw learning. So I'll show those two type of learning, because these type of learnings will involve each and every students uh, have to open up your mouth, and you have to tell, and you have to involve in the learning. Then group discussions, group presentations, and laboratory practicals. So these are the teaching and learning methods, or teaching and learning activities. Then the evaluation. So there will be theory and practical examinations. So earlier there was very limited continuous assessment for practicals. So normally end semester exams were considered for practical, but from your batch we are going to assess practicals also in the class. When you are learning, you will be earning 30% of the marks. So attendance is very important. So if you do not attend, then you will be losing some marks. Okay. So for theory, at the end of maybe 5 weeks, you will have a quiz examination. Then there will be an in-class examination or mid-semester examination after the mid-semester. So that will account for 15%, and there will be a term paper presentation or assignment, and for that you will get 5 marks. So in the end semester examination, you will get only 70% of the marks. So attendance and continuous learning is important if you want to get higher marks. Please, everyone, mute yourself. Then practical also. So for continuous assessment, practical records will be assessed, and maybe sometimes we'll be giving some assignments, as what we gave for the poster presentation. We'll give some assignments here also. So you have done very nicely, most of you, the poster presentation. So keep it up, and so this kind of student-centered learning will improve your interaction among the students, and also your learning skills will be improved. So we will be giving assignments, group assignments also for the evaluation, continuous assessment of the practical. And at the end semester, we will be giving a practical exam. So you have to do some practicals and some theory part. For that, 40% marks will be given. Then there will be spot examination. So for that, 20 marks, and there will be an oral exam. You have to talk face to face. So for that, 10% marks. So that is the evaluation. So attendance is very important. Otherwise, you will find it difficult at last. So there are some references given. So I have already uploaded this as a handout in the LMS. So from next class, I'll be asking, maybe at the beginning, we'll be spending some time. Maybe 5 or 6 of you have to on your camera, and you have to talk for the questions, and maybe some assignments you have to talk. So before that, I want to discuss with you these student-centered learning methods we are going to practice. So think, pair, share. So 2 students think about a question or an issue, share between their ideas, then share it to the group. Okay. So this is maybe in this Zoom, it is not very easy for this because every one of you are not nearby. But in an open, in a face-to-face lectures, maybe we will be conducting this. We can ask a few questions and then you can discuss among you with the neighbor. Then you can develop some confidence and one of you have to answer. Okay. Then this will increase the confidence of sharing and think, pair, share, that type of learning. Then this is the fish bowl learning. So here, this is also in the face-to-face, we can do better. But here in Zoom also we can do. So what is this fish bowl? So students in the fish bowl discuss the topic or reading at hand. So maybe this we'll select 5 or 6 students. So maybe at the beginning, I'll select 5 students or 6 students. So you have to on your camera and you have to, maybe you have to read the handouts I post or I share. And also if the other students observe and reflect on the discussion. So maybe whatever only these students will be talking. Other students, or they have to answer actually, and maybe they will be reading the handouts, and the other students can ask questions from these students. So these 5 students will be rotated. In each class, 5 students will be selected. So every student will have a chance to talk in the class. Okay, so that is fish bowl learning. So here each student will be given a chance to be a fish as well as a fish feeder. So these are called as fish, and all these are called as fish feeders. Okay. So student as fish will be selected by the teacher before the class and communicated via LMS. So I have already posted the handouts. So everyone has to be prepared. And maybe in the next class, 5 students I will select and they have to read the handout. Then I will discuss. Maybe at the beginning we can start like this. Then all of the students will be fish feeders, learn from the fish and provide them fish food for thought. So maybe other students can ask some questions from them. And in each class, there will be 10-minute session of fish bowl learning. Okay, so maybe at the beginning or at the end, this fish bowl learning we can do. Then another type of learning, jigsaw learning. So you know what is a jigsaw puzzle. So puzzles you would have played in your kids when you were kids. So here what the thing is, maybe we'll be giving you some topics. So here, for example, 5 groups, and in each 5 students are there. Okay. So for each of these student, a similar type of theme will be given. So from each group, those similar topics, students will gather together and they will discuss that theme, and then they will bring the things to that group, and they will discuss here and then they will present. So similarly, in one group, each student has to go to another group of same topic. They have to discuss and they have to bring and discuss in this, and then they have to present. So we will design 1 or 2 sessions for this jigsaw learning, and we'll tell you how to do that. Okay. So all these we are introducing because to learn, to improve the learning by yourself, not the teacher teach you. In future you have to learn yourself. Okay, so that is about the learning methods we are going to adopt. So now we'll move on to the first session, first hour of lecture. Uh, soil, you have already studied what is soil, the definition. So what is a soil? Can anyone tell? Can anyone? Hmm? What are soils? So how to do interactive lectures? Hmm? Okay, so from next class, I'll select at the beginning of the class, I will select maybe 10 students, and those 10 students will read the slides. I will not read. Okay, you will read and then I will discuss. So in this way only we can bring you to open your mouth and to talk. And also we have some other activities. Okay, so I can excuse today, but from next class you have to open up. So soil is a three-dimensional natural body comprised of solids, liquids, and gases. So if you are asked to define soil, then all these words should be there. Then only you will get the full marks. Okay, so it is a three-dimensional body, three-dimensional and also natural body. That is a key word. Okay, so it is not an artificial body. It has been formed naturally, and it has to have all the four composition: mineral matter, organic matter, liquid, and gases. Okay, and also soil is a three-phase system. So three phase, what are the three phases? What are the three phases?
Mineral matter, liquid matter, soil water.
Three phases. What are the three phases?
Solid, liquid, and gas. Solid, liquid.
Yeah, solid, liquid, and gases. So solid, in solid, organic matter and mineral matter will come. Air, uh, gases, then soil water is the liquid phase. Okay, so it has four composition or components and three phases. Okay, and in an ideal soil, 50% of the soil volume is solid, and 50% is pores. Okay, without solid is pores. And in the pores, in an ideal environment, 25% is air and 25% is water. Then it will be an ideal environment for the microbes and also for the plants. And in the solid, less than 5% is organic matter. It is very low in the dry zone. It is even less than even less than 0.5% is the organic matter. And most of it, more than 45% is mineral matter. So that is the composition of soil. And in this course, we are going to study about the properties. So first of all, we'll be studying about soil physical properties. So what do you mean by soil physical properties? Physical. What do you mean by physical? So physical, chemical, biological. So three we are going to learn. So what do you think it is physical property? So these
Soil horizon.
Yes. Estelle, please.
Soil horizon.
Soil horizon. Okay. Any other answers? Physical property? So actually, these physical properties we can measure by without doing any chemical analysis, by seeing or by feeling, that is by vision or by feeling, we'll be able to estimate them, or without any chemical analysis, by physical measurements we'll be able to measure them, no without chemical analysis. Okay, so those are physical properties. So these are which can be evaluated by visual inspection or by feeling, but all of them cannot be assessed by visual inspection, but maybe properties that can be described by physical measurements. Okay, by physical measurements means by weight or weighing the weight and measuring the volume. These kind of measurements we can estimate those properties. Okay, so those are physical properties, whereas the chemical properties we have to do some chemical analysis. Okay, and biological maybe those related to living things are biological properties. Okay, so now you should be clear. They can be evaluated by visual inspection or by seeing or by touching or feeling. So maybe all the properties we cannot estimate by these two methods. Then we have to measure some physical measurements, not chemical measurements, but doing some physical measurements, we'll be able to estimate them. So those are physical properties. So why we should study about these physical properties? Because these properties determine or influence the amount of plant available water. So because water is a very important property of the soil which will affect the growth of plants. Okay, so these physical properties will determine the amount of plant available water in the soil. So we have to know about these physical property and how to improve those physical properties to improve all these things. Okay, and also these physical properties influence the availability of oxygen to the plant roots. So availability of oxygen to plant roots is another factor that will affect the growth of the plant. Then those properties will affect the movement of water in the soil, because water movement is very important for the growth of the plant and for the microbes. Then these properties will influence the soil strength and root penetration. So the plant roots should be easily penetrated into the soil, then only they can be physically strong. And so the soil properties will affect this root penetration property of the plant. So we have to learn about them. Not only that, even the chemical and biological properties or biological conditions of the soil also influenced by these physical properties. So, since all the other properties are influenced by physical properties, they are very important, and you have to, or we as agriculture students, we have to know about these physical properties and how to manage them. And next is important soil physical properties and processes. So these are the properties and processes we'll be learning. So we'll be learning soil density. So in the density, there are two types of density: particle density and bulk density. So we'll be learning them. Then soil porosity is another physical property. Soil texture, soil structure, soil color, consistency, soil water retention, soil water movement, soil air, soil temperature. So these are the main physical properties you will be learning under this course. So now we'll move on to soil density. So you all know density is the weight per unit volume of a substance. In soil science, there are two types of density in the soil. One density is bulk density or apparent density. The other one is particle density or true density. Okay, so you should know these synonyms. Bulk density and apparent density are same, and particle density and true density are the same. So we'll see what are those two types of density. So first we'll learn about bulk density. So what is bulk density? It is the mass of the soil per unit volume, including the pore space. So you all know density is mass per volume. So in soil, there are two volume. One is total volume and volume of solids only. Okay. So in this bulk density, we consider the total volume. So total volume in the sense, it will include the volume of air, volume of water and volume of solids. So when you calculate all the volume of all the parts and you divide that, divide the mass of dry soil. So you should not consider the wet soil. So in the practical, you will be learning how to determine the bulk density. So you have to take this as the dry mass of the soil, and you divide. You have to measure the volume of that soil. Then you divide the mass by the volume. Then it is bulk density. So you will be doing this in the practical class. So since we are not going to do the practical class, maybe I'll allocate 1 hour for just to show you how to determine this in the practical, so that you can have more understanding than just doing the theory only. So I will ask the demonstrators to allocate 1 hour of this because you are going to learn 4 hours theory each week. So in 1 hour, I'll ask the demonstrators to show you how to do the practical of these. Then when you come, you will do. But now your understanding can be improved rather than just studying the theory only. Okay. So that is bulk density, MS over VT. MS is a mass of dry solids. So you take a soil sample, then you take the oven dry weight. So that is MS. Then VT is the total volume of the soil. So then you can find the bulk density. And the unit is gram per centimeter cube. So this is grams. Volume is you measure in centimeter cube. So gram per centimeter cube is the unit of bulk density. So any factor that influence the soil pore space will affect the bulk density, because this solid volume will not change, but this pore space can be changed. Okay, so any factor that can affect this volume, this pore space, can affect the bulk density value. So, and it is a measure of compactness of the soil. So if you compact the soil more, then the volume of these pores will be reduced. So what will happen to the bulk density? If you compact, bulk density, will it increase or decrease? Can anyone tell? If you compact the soil, will bulk density increase or decrease? Increase. Okay, so here you can see an example. So this is normal soil. This is a compacted soil. So when you compact, all the solids will not change, but the volume, this volume of water and volume of air is reduced. So MS over VS. So since VT is reduced, the bulk density is increased. Okay. So since when you compact, the volume of this part will be reduced, so VT will be reduced, so it will be bulk density will increase. Okay. So now we will see what are the factors that will affect the bulk density of the soil. So first factor is soil texture. So you have not yet studied what is soil texture, but I'll just tell you soil texture is about whether soil is clay or sand or loam. Okay, so that kind of property is soil texture. So you all know what is, you touch a cloth and you feel the texture. So similarly, you can touch the soil and feel the texture. Okay, so soil texture means whether it is clay, sand, those kind of study. So normally clay soil will have lower density than sandy soil. Can anyone tell why clay soil has lower density?
Because it's compact soil.
So compact soil. Okay. Any other compact soil, then lower density or high density? If it is a compact soil.
High density.
Yeah. So is it correct? Clay soil has lower density?
Because the clay have high volume than the sand soil.
Yeah. Everyone accept that clay has high volume?
Yes, madam.
Yes. Then
Yes,
how? But which soil allow water to move easily? Sandy soil or clay soil?
Sand.
Sand is
So which has high volume? Hmm? Okay, so we'll learn more about that. So actually, sandy soil, clay soil has more pore volume. But why sandy soil is allowing quick water movement is there are two types of pores in the soil: micropores and macropores. Micropores is where water is held, and macropores is where air is held. Sorry, where air is held. So in sandy soil, proportion of macropores is high. Big pores are high. So water cannot be held. It will be drained quickly. Okay. But the micropores are high in clay soil, and the total volume is high in clay soil. Okay. Maybe the proportion of macropores or big pores is less. That's why it does not allow water movement, but the total volume is high in clay soil. Okay, so that's why clay soil has lower density than sandy soil. Okay, then amount of organic matter. So if organic matter is high, bulk density will be reduced. Okay. There are two reasons we can tell why organic matter will reduce the bulk density. One, organic matter has low density itself. So if you get a soil sample, and if you add some water, maybe organic matter will float on the top, but the sand particles or soil particles will settle down. So the density of organic matter is less. So in that case, if your soil is high in organic matter, the average density will be reduced. Okay, so that is one. The other thing is when there is organic matter in the soil will be aggregated. Soil particles will get together and form aggregates. So when these aggregates are formed, there will be inter-aggregate pores and intra-aggregate pores will be created. So when the pores are increasing, the total volume is increasing. So because of that, bulk density will be reduced. Okay. And next one is depth of the soil. So normally, if you from the surface of the soil, if you move to the depth, then the soil will be more compacted and therefore the bulk density will be high. Okay. So if you take a soil sample in the, for example, 1 to 10 centimeter, and if you take a soil sample in 30 to 40 centimeter depth, and if you measure the bulk density in the 30 to 40 meter depth sample, the bulk density will be higher because there will be more compaction in the lower layers, because maybe one reason is soil is the above soil is giving some pressure. The other reason is root penetration is very less in the lower layers. In the upper layers, root penetration is there. So when there is root penetration, there will be more pores. And also maybe these macro animals or organisms such as earthworm and other insects, their activity is high in the upper layer. So all these activities will increase the total volume of the soil. Therefore, bulk density of the surface soil is less, whereas the bulk density of the subsurface soils will be higher. So bulk density will be affected by soil texture, compaction, organic matter content, and depth. So here compacted soils have higher density than non-compacted soil. And also soil structure. So this texture and structure you will be studying in future, but anyway I'll tell you now, because these properties also influence the density, so I want to discuss that. So in structure, so actually structure is how soil particles are forming aggregates. That is, in the soil, soils are not found as individual particles. They will get together and form some shapes. So those kind of shapes are called as soil structure. So in soils, there are different types of structure according to the shape. So you'll be studying later. So one of that is granulated, another one is platy, another one is columnar. So granulated means the soil particles are get together and form something like what is that? Circular shapes. Okay, so those are granulated soils. Other one is in some kind of soils form as plates. Okay, so it's something like wafer biscuit, something like that. Layers soils are formed. So that type of structure is called as platy. Another type of structure is columnar. Soil will form as column-like structures. Okay, so all these two, there is less space in between soil layers. So in that case, it has less total volume, therefore high bulk density. Whereas in granulated soils, so in granulated soils, it's like somewhat like this. So there are some inter granular space, as well as inside also there will be some spaces. So all that increase the total volume of the soil. Therefore, the granulated soils will have low bulk density, whereas these platy and columnar structure will have higher bulk density. So all these five factors will affect the bulk density. Okay. Those are the factors. Now we'll see from some research data. So I get it from internet. So different activities also can change the bulk density in the soil. So here different researchers have reported this. So for example, urban lawn or turf, that is in the urban areas, people grow some grasses or lawn. So in those soils, the bulk density can increase. Okay. And also grazing lands, bulk density can increase by 0.12 to 0.2 gram per centimeter cube. And also during crop cultivation, also bulk density can increase. Then construction sites, bulk density increase. Then traffic, bulk density increase. And athletic fields in the playgrounds, also bulk density can be increased. So can anyone tell why, for example, in the athletic field, bulk density is increased? In the playground, why bulk density will be increased? Yes? What will happen there? Among these five, what will happen in the texture, organic matter, depth, compaction, structure? Among these five factors, which can contribute to increase in bulk density in the playground?
Compaction.
Yeah, compaction, because there will be always people will running and moving, and they during that the soil will be compacted. Okay, and even grazing. So in grazing also animals through their walking and their weight is put on the land, that will also compact. And crops, maybe during crop cultivation, if there is a proper management practices, maybe you can reduce the bulk density. But in some cases, bulk density can be increased because maybe even in crop cultivation, especially, so all these data are from Western countries. So they use a lot of mechanical cultivation. So during those mechanical cultivation practices, there is possibility of compaction. Okay. So on the other hand, there are some how bulk density can be decreased in some cases. Also has been reported. When you till the soil, maybe slight decrease in bulk density. When you lose the soil, bulk density can be decreased, because when you lose the soil, volume is increased. Then amendments, that is amendments means lime application. You apply lime or gypsum to change the pH of the soil. So when you apply those amendments, you'll study later the calcium in the lime can improve the soil particle aggregation. So when particles are aggregated, the volume is increased and bulk density can be reduced. Then compost amendments. So when you apply compost to the soil, so compost is organic matter, its density itself is less, and also compost can enhance soil particles to come together and form aggregates. So because of all this, the volume of the soil will be, pore volume of the soil will be increased, thereby density will be reduced. So then reforestation. So if you plant trees after deforestation, if you plant trees, Because of root penetration and organic matter addition, all these will contribute to reduce the bulk density. Okay, so you should understand, if you are given these a few of these activities and you are asked which soil will have a low density and which soil will have high density, you should be able to discuss them. So maybe I can stop here. Okay, I can complete this slide also. So how bulk density influences cropping. So all this time we were discussing what factors influence bulk density. Now we are discussing what is the effect of bulk density on the cropping. Why we should worry about bulk density. Okay. So high bulk density indicate compacted soils, so that restrict the root growth. So you can see the compact soil. So if you plant a seed in this compact soil, root penetration will be very difficult. Okay. So high bulk density indicate compacted soil, and that will restrict the root growth. So if you measure bulk density of a soil, then you can tell what about the ease of root penetration. So such soils need to be improved with practices such as cover cropping. So in those soils, you have to introduce some cover cropping so that maybe there will be some root penetration occur, and that will increase the volume, and therefore it will reduce the bulk density. Then incorporating crop residues. So in those type of soils, after harvesting, do not remove the crop residue. You incorporate the crop residue into the soil, so you are increasing the organic matter, and that will help to reduce the bulk density. Then using crops with various rooting depth to increase organic matter content. So in such soils, you introduce some different crops so that rooting depth, different rooting depth you can introduce. So when you introduce such crops in different depth, you can increase the volume of the soil, and thereby you can reduce the bulk density. And also you can add organic manures such as compost or crop residues or whatever organic manure you can add, and that can help to reduce the bulk density. So that finishes bulk density. So maybe in the next class, I'll select maybe 5 to 10 students at the beginning of the class. I will name them as fish, and throughout the class, they will be maybe at the initial class, I will ask some questions from those, and you also, others can ask the question from them. So whatever we have studied today, those 10 students have to answer. So everyone has to be prepared. You will have equal chance to be selected as a fish. Okay, then after that, I have already put the handouts. So you have to learn these handouts, how to read those handouts. Maybe I'll do the calculation part, but you have to read the handout and come, and we can discuss further. Okay. So if you want to ask any doubts, you can ask now. 2 or 3 minutes discussion. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Yes. Sleeping, everyone? Or you join and you went somewhere?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so Any doubts? Okay, so next, so tomorrow you will have, did you get the timetable?
No, ma'am.
Wait. So can you able to see the screen timetable?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you want, you can take a shot. Maybe they will be giving you. You can take if you want. So tomorrow I have 10:30 to 11:30. The issue is I have a meeting during this time. So shall we meet at 2 o'clock like this time? Today. Like today? Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so tomorrow the class will be 2 to 3. Okay? Right, huh? Okay, so we can stop here and you can leave the class now. Thank you.